that lives inside of us, but we often don't understand how we're made. Okay, how we're made up, like what we look like. So I want to just help you understand that a little bit today. So we're going to make, what's your name? Annie, you're the body. Okay, which makes sense, right? I mean, yeah, all right. So, what's your name? Sam, you're the soul. And what's your name? Grace. Grace, you're the spirit. Now, we could debate this at length. We could get into a whole theological debate, but the bottom line is, in Scripture, especially in the Eastern Church, they understand it's to be made of three parts. Body, soul, spirit. The body often gets a really bad rap because it's called the flesh, and the whole flesh thing gets a really negative rap. But the bottom line is, let's remember that God made us perfectly and wonderfully with a body, that when Jesus came to earth, He took on a body, and when He rose from the dead, His body rose from the dead. So there's nothing wrong with your body. It's actually a good thing. Just because sin has entered there, and it kind of gets lived out there, doesn't mean that your body's negative. Okay? So we always think of the body as being kind of a negative. It's not a negative. It's no different than the soul and the spirit. It's just it's different because it's got physical touch and flesh to it. Right? Make sense? Okay? Now, what's the soul then? Well, the soul, I think, is unique in every person. So every one of you has a unique soul because you have a unique personality, a unique set of emotions, a unique set of morals and ethics, a unique will. Some of you are strong-willed, some of you are weak-willed. Some of you have no will at all. Some of you have a will that your parents like to slap the silly out of you, right? That makes sense? So we all have this stuff. You know, each of us has this unique soul that God's put inside of us, right? And our mind, our emotions, our morals, all those things are in our soul. Now, deeper inside of us is this place called the spirit. This is the spot that I think is unique to all human beings. No animal has this. Not in the same way we do. Because we can relate to God in ways that no other animal on the face of the earth can. The reason we're made in the image of God is because the image of God means that we can connect to God in ways that are deeper than any other creature on the face of the earth. And that's because of the spirit that's been placed within us. When God made Adam and Eve, He breathed into them the breath of life. And it sounds kind of, it's weird, but it's like that's the word for spirit. It's the same word as breath, as wind. It's God breathing into these people this living life force inside them. Now, let me show you what else the Hebrews believed about this. The Greeks believed that your soul and body can be separated. So they said, if you did something to your body, it wouldn't affect your soul. If you did something to your soul, it wouldn't affect your body. This kind of separatistic view of man. Hebrews don't believe that. The Hebrew scriptures say this. I just got to put just a little drops for a second. Not going to touch it too much. Annie. All right. Got to just wrap this around your waist. Sorry. I just got what concern. Hello. You okay? Are you good with that? This is kind of that's good enough. So the Hebrews believed that we were connected, body, soul, and spirit, and that whatever happened to the body happened to the soul and the spirit. Whatever happened to the soul happened to the spirit and the body. Whatever happened to the spirit happened to the body and the soul. You couldn't separate them. They were intimately connected to each other. Make sense? So even like in our culture, you guys are maybe a little young for this, but I have junior high kids, so I can say this. Even in our culture, our view of virginity is messed up. Because we think of it as an act, a physical act that happens with our bodies. But even in this virginity sexuality area, if you think about it, it involves your soul and your spirit, because you can't do something to your body that doesn't happen to your soul and your spirit also. So this idea that we have this physical definition of virginity is all messed up. Because we're not just bodies. We're everything put together in one piece. Now, let me show you. I'm going to tie this a little tighter. I'm afraid I'm going to fall out. Let me show you what happens now. When you're born, I'm going to show you how you look when you're born. Okay? Ready? Okay. So, was that nice acting? Huh?
That was great.
I mean, unrehearsed. I mean, let's just give it a little.
Yeah, go Klein.
You stay there. You're dead. You're supposed to be dead. You can't move when you're dead. All right. Now look, when you're born, everyone in the world is born dead. Because you're born in sin, your parents' sins passed on to you, and your spirit is limited in how it can connect to God. It's crazy to think of a little baby actually born dead, but it's true. Without Jesus in your life, you're not alive. Not fully alive. Okay? It's kind of weird. It says in the Bible that your spirit's been damaged. It's been messed up. The sin is stained, and it's broken the connection between you and God. So everybody that's walking around out there that doesn't know Jesus, doesn't have Jesus living in them, this is what they look like. Which means their body and their soul are running the show, and the Spirit of God who's trying to make signals to them and get their attention, and there's not much of a connection with that Spirit. Okay, now, what's Jesus saying in John 3? He says, if you want to be part of the kingdom of heaven, you must be... No, what's the word he uses? Born again. What's he mean? Again, he's talking about the wind of the Spirit. He's talking about the same word in Hebrew that was used in creation, that God blows this life on you and you come alive. So, now you get to resurrect from the dead. Boom! You take in this Jesus and you were resurrected from the dead inside. Uh-oh. You are really messing this up. Just kidding. You're doing a great job. Your dying scene was amazing. It was one of the best dying scenes I've ever done. Right. Now, so here's the thing. Think about it. When you are saying you're going to be a Christian, what that means is your spirit's come alive again. Jesus has entered in here, and you've been born again. And now you have this Jesus resurrection life, spirit life, life force living inside you that should impact the rest of your stuff. He doesn't have ADHD, doesn't he? The soul has ADHD in this case. Okay. Now, let me tell you what happens. When Jesus enters in here, what's used to run the show? Body and soul. Body and soul used to run the show. So it's really difficult for us to what it says in the Scripture, live by the Spirit. To be filled with the Spirit. Okay, when it says you're filled with the Spirit, it doesn't mean that you have more of the Spirit. It means the Spirit has more of you. So what we want to do is we want to grow this influence in our lives so that it can impact how our mind thinks, how our emotions feel, how our personality functions, how we treat other people, and how our body responds in the world. So we get this all mixed up because we think that living the Christian life means that if we make a bunch of rules for the body, so much preaching in the church is to this. We say, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Does that work? It's a disaster. It'll never work. No rule will ever change a person's life. Because only this life force can change your life. Or we do all this, it's great. I mean, it's great to have rules. You got to have some rules. It's great to have, good theology and stuff. But theology won't change your life. Theology will fall short because, see, until you have the Spirit power living in you, you won't actually be able to live a life that's really life. That make sense? You with me on this? Okay, now, let's release these guys. You guys have done a great job. You can give them a hand. Yeah.